If you somehow don't know what Twitch is, it's a streaming service dedicated to video game streamers, though it now encompasses a variety of streaming content. It generates over $2 billion a year, averages about 2.84 million concurrent viewers a day, has 9 million active channels, and its biggest channels generate billions and billions of views. Today, we're going to tell you the story of how a young exhibitionist Yale student turned a terrible idea into one of the most trafficked websites on the internet. This is the story of Justin TV, which became Twitch. I'm Jason. He's Kevin. This is episode 21 of Too Much Coffee. In the mid-2000s, video and compression streaming technology was just beginning to improve to the point that online video was becoming more and more viable. Okay, think about Justin TV came out in 2007. Yeah. Way back in the ancient days of 2007 internet. I want you to think about 2007. MySpace
I can't imagine
was still
streaming
around
in 2007.
Yeah, MySpace was around. Facebook was basically brand new. And that was the year the first iPhone was released. So there was no iPhone when Justin TV came out.
Yep.
Justin TV was founded by 4 guys. 3 guys who went to Yale, and then a guy who dropped out of MIT to work on it. So some smart dudes. Justin Kahn, Emmett Shear, Michael Seibel, and then the MIT guy was Kyle Vogt, and he was the technology guy.
Honestly, I wish you would have said it's 4 guys and they're all named Justin. All of them.
What you do? It's not Justin TV. It's Justin's TV.
That's right.
Yes, it's not. So all right. So this Justin Kahn guy, he's pretty funny because he was clearly sort of a show off, like exhibitionist.
Yeah.
Because he started. Actually, if you read his history, the guy was all about calendars for like years.
Interesting.
Okay. What I mean is at Yale before he graduated from Yale.
Yeah.
His first entrepreneurial, I guess, like endeavor was, I'm going to make this charity calendar.
Yeah.
Of guys from Yale. Think of like a sexy calendar.
Yeah.
He put himself on the cover. I've seen a picture of it. He puts himself on the cover, no shirt, no pants. He's just got, you've seen Varsity Blues, right?
Yeah.
Where the whipped cream bikini.
Yeah.
All right. He's got his version of the whipped cream bikini with whipped cream around his naughty bits. And he's got a little bit of whipped cream on his chest and he's like licking some off his finger. This is Justin Kahn.
Oh, that's awesome.
The founder of Twitch.
That's awesome. I love it.
So it seemed like he was like, he's that kind of guy, like sort of he keeps in really good shape. He thinks a lot of himself, like probably one of those guys who takes his shirt off every chance he gets to show his abs off and like finds a reason to flex his muscles and pose and stuff like that. Justin Kahn.
Which way to the bus station? Oh, it's
over there. Oh, let me just stretch for just a minute.
Yes, I can.
The muscles get so tight when I stretch like this.
Yes, I can reach on top of the shelf.
Yes, let me just get that for you. The shirt is holding me back. Let me pull this shirt off so I can reach up, so I can get up on the top shelf. Oh, yes. Oh, my back. Oh, does it look like there's a knot in my back? I feel like right back here, that just feels like a knot. Can you inspect that giant muscle close and just see if you can see anything? Justin Kahn. They do the calendars, okay? And then after that, more calendars, okay? This is before we all use Gmail. Now, Gmail existed, but there was no calendar app.
Yeah.
I used the Gmail calendar app for all kinds of stuff. And back then, he was like, people need an online calendar. So he set up this thing with Emmett Shear. So Justin Kahn and Emmett Shear create this web calendar. Think of it like Gmail calendar, but a website. So they spent a lot of time coding that, putting that together, and they were having trouble sort of getting people to use it. And then the Gmail version of a calendar comes out, and they're like, "Well, we're dead.
Yeah,
that's over.
Done. Yeah."
Justin Kahn had pitched this idea for this online calendar to Paul Graham. Now,
Yeah.
if you're listening to this, you don't know who Paul Graham is, I guess all you need to know is that he's a tech guy. Going back in the 90s, he made a ton of money working on tech stuff, sold a company to Yahoo, and they paid him a bunch of money. He writes essays about technology, and he has this company called Y Combinator, and they fund all these startups.
Yeah.
So Justin Kahn and his friends were in the circle of people who were around Paul Graham, or he got to know him. And Paul Graham was like, I get a little money for this calendar. He gave him like $12K or something, I think, to work on it. And since Google released their calendar, it's like, well, there goes that. Who cares about my calendar now?
Yeah.
But what was funny is, so he's like, this is dead in the water. I don't know what let me just get rid of this. So at least I can give some money to my investors.
Yeah. So
he puts it up on eBay, and the starting bid is like $50,000, $58,000, something like that.
Yeah.
Someone ends up buying it for about $258,000.
Oh, that's
on
interesting.
Freaking eBay.
Yeah.
Supposedly he's the second business to ever sell on eBay like that. One other business had done it before that.
Interesting.
So, he was completely shocked. Like he could not believe someone bought it or that they would pay that much. This was just like a Hail Mary. Like, can we please just make some money to give back to our investors? We'll try anything. And somebody bought it, and they like, oh wow, we got some money in our pocket. So they got to pay their investors back, and they had just a little bit to, figure out what their next thing was going to be. That just blows my mind. Some people are just blessed.
Yeah.
Like some people are just sprinkled with fairy dust, and they do things that make no sense, but somehow they just work. It's like, you sold your business on eBay?
Right place, right time. Yeah.
Who bought it?
I don't know. That's a good question. What they do with it is the better question.
Yeah. Fascinating. So Justin Kahn is sprinkled with fairy dust. He somehow sold his business on eBay for a bunch of money. And now he wanted to figure out what. So Paul Graham's asking him, what you going to do next? You got any more ideas? You got any more ideas? They're trying to come up with stuff. And he says, you know what? I got it. I've got a great idea. We're going to do the first ever. And I think it was inspired by like reality shows.
Yeah.
How old is Survivor? I mean, that's like.
It's pretty old.
Okay. We remember.
It's definitely older than 2007.
We remember The Real World when we were kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
We grew up with that one. That's like the 90s.
Yeah.
MTV. Did you ever watch that stupid show?
I never watched it, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I remember it.
Real World, and then Survivor, which is like 2000.
Yeah.
And still goes on.
I didn't know it was still on.
They are still making seasons of Survivor. Yeah. Because my brother-in-law watches it.
Oh, fascinating. Yeah.
And the last time he came over, he mentioned that, and I said, they're still making that show?
That's
Can't believe that.
I didn't know. That's wild.
Mark Burnett, the guy who came up with that, he's made a whole career out of Survivor. That's crazy. So anyway, I think it was inspired by reality TV, and video was just, now everybody didn't have videos on their phones.
Yeah.
But internet speeds were faster. Mobile networks were getting better. But really, it wasn't quite there yet. So 24/7 live cast. I'm going to put this camera on my hat. So if you see a picture of him, he's literally wearing a baseball cap tilted to the side.
Yeah.
And there's a camera clipped onto it. He said, I'm going to wear this camera 24/7, and I'm just going to stream it, and people can watch it. Which sounds like the dumbest idea I've ever heard.
It does, but it sounds exactly like the sort of thing people would watch on the internet.
Well, he said later, he's like, I saw an interview with some guy on MTV, and they were talking about this, and he's like, what? The guy said, what in the world made you even want to do something like that? And he said, well, it works, it doesn't work, who knows, but at least I'll be the first guy who ever did it.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, this is cool because I'll be the first one who ever did this, which is true. And that's why people were interested in Justin TV. So anyway, he talks to Paul Graham, and he says, look, I got this idea. We're going to live cast 24/7. I'm going to create this technology so that I can cast out my life in real time. It streams to a website. People can go to the website and watch it. Yeah. And I guess Paul Graham thought that was hilarious. So he's like, oh my God, let's try it. Let's do it. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Y Combinator gives him like 50 G's. I'm sure he got other money.
Yeah.
Raise some other money. This whole world, I love this world that people live in, the startup world, where you just come up with an idea with some friends or whatever, or some guys
Yeah.
or girls, and then you just all right, let's find people to just give us a bunch of money to do this.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you might make money and you might not.
You just have some idea, and some guy's like, "Here you go, have $150,000 or whatever."
Incredible.
It's crazy.
Sometimes I think, man, I gotta get in this startup game. I need a good idea. All right, how many dentists can I talk to?
You could do it.
Let me go talk to some dentists. Let me go talk to some chiropractors and some realtors and stuff. Get some checks and make this thing happen.
I need to go talk to Paul Graham.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Right. You know how many millions of people bother him every year? Like, Paul, I've got this great idea. Yeah. Paul, I've got this great idea to make the perfect fried egg. You know how hard it is to make a fried egg, right? How you can never flip it at just the right moment, and it's always rubbery on the inside.
Yeah.
With this, Paul, you can never mess up a fried egg again. This is the perfect fried egg.
You got to have a real good idea.
Paul's like, get out of here. Yeah, you've just got to have a good idea. Well, one of the themes of our show today is you don't have to have a good idea. Now, is Justin TV a good idea? All right. Just
a novel idea.
To summarize, the concept of the original Justin TV. Now, this is 2007. The concept of the original Justin TV is that Justin Kahn has a camera attached to his hat. He lives his life. Okay, this is a 23-year-old man. So he just lives his life, and you watch it. It's not edited. It's not scripted. They tried to make it entertaining as they could, but these are not TV producers or anything like that. They don't have a huge staff writing content, making stuff happen. These are just some dudes, 4 guys who live in an apartment together, 4 guys who share a 2-bedroom apartment. They're sitting around doing business, working on business on their laptops, ordering pizza, going out to bars, just doing stuff. And that's the idea. And I think of that and you think that should never work. But what happened was, like you said, it was novel.
Yeah.
People went to check it out. And newspaper outlets picked up on it instantly. So he was getting articles written about him. He was doing interviews on national television. And it just blew up. People were like, I got to go check this out. And people started coming to Justin TV like crazy to see what was going on.
Yeah.
But shock of all shocks, it was boring. It was freaking boring.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody found out when they went to see the show, is just him mostly sleeping.
Of course.
That was one of the critiques. They're like, this guy just sleeps a lot.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I could see myself logging in and watch. And there's not a lot of the footage that's still around, but if you go on YouTube, you can see a couple clips. The video quality was rough. So let me tell you, let me tell you a little bit about what they had to do to even make it rough, because they had to make their own technology to even make this work.
Yep.
So Kyle Vogt was an MIT guy. He actually dropped out to work on this project.
Yeah.
Apparently a brilliant guy. So he was like the guy who did all the heavy lifting to figure out how this worked. Because I think Justin Kahn had figured out a prototype, but it just wasn't working as well as it needed to, because you didn't have the phones with the nice cameras and you didn't have the bandwidth to stream all that video, and you had to figure out some way to compress it so that you could actually, because raw video is gigantic. You can't just send raw video feed of all that. You had to compress it, and you need battery power to make it all work. So one of the problems with getting this started was actually they had to make the technology to even do it. So what they ended up doing was they took 4 cell phones, basically, and hooked them together in a way. That gave them this increased bandwidth that they could use. So they had this system where they rigged these 4 phones together with a laptop, and it had a big battery that would last 8 hours on a charge.
Yeah.
So it was hooked to the camera that was hooked to his hat, and Justin had to walk around with this really heavy backpack on all the time that had stuff in it. And this thing would broadcast over a cell phone network.
Yeah.
And they had to create, like a protocol to stream to compress the stream and blah, 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 and all that stuff. But it worked. It worked. The video quality, you go back and look at it today, it's rough.
Oh, I'm sure it's ass.
Glitchy and low res, and it looks bad, but it worked.
Although the technology is more or less the same now. They still have like the same sort of like backpacks with the big batteries in it. I mean, I'm sure it's better now, but they have like systems where you can like stream over the cell phone network, but it can like have multiple SIM cards. So you can like switch networks depending on how much coverage you get.
Yeah.
It's more advanced, but it's the same sort of technology they still use now.
Well, everybody was fascinated
live streaming the same way.
Like you said, everybody was fascinated by this because it was new.
Yeah.
They were doing something new and interesting.
Yeah.
So everybody was talking about it, but you go on the website to check it out. It's like, this is freaking boring. This guy's doing nothing. These guys are doing nothing. They tried really hard to make it entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, there's a video where he was driving like 120 miles per hour in a car.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny. It was just two. I watched it. There was just two guys sitting in the car, and they get up to like 120, and they're like, "Dude, you're going really fast right now." And then they're just talking about the car.
Well, like, yeah. I mean, nobody's life is that interesting all the time.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Unless you act like Logan Paul and act like a psychopath.
Well, yeah, you can do that too, I guess. But
yeah, that's what they. Yeah. But he was the first guy that did it, so they're having to figure all this stuff out. It's like, how do you just be interesting all the time? That was the problem.
You can't. Yeah.
You can't. You have to act like a lunatic to be interesting all the time.
And I mean, more power to you, but if it's what you want to do, but I can't imagine just wanting to stream my whole life. This is awful.
I guess he did the math and he was like, this is going to suck. I don't want to, maybe he does want to do it. Maybe he doesn't, but he's like, look, I'll do this for however much time and then I'll be done with it.
Yeah.
And I'm the first guy who did it.
Yeah.
So I guess he was willing to make the sacrifice. Imagine the internet as we know it today. We all have a lot of experience with the internet. We've been using it for a long time. You know how social media works.
Yeah.
Okay, now picture this. Mystery for you. So you got all these guys or all these people who are online watching this very boring show, but they're interested in it anyway because of the technology. So they want to be there. They're in the chat room, but they're bored. What do you think started to happen immediately?
Oh, I'm sure they were just, trolling and shit.
The trolling started immediately.
Of course. Yeah.
4 days.
How would it not?
Yes, of course. You know how the internet works.
Yeah.
You know the things that happen. You know the crazy people and the psychos that are out there on the internet. They just can't wait to play a practical joke. Or to troll. So 4 days into the stream, he gets swatted. Somebody calls the police. Because, nowadays doxing is like a big deal.
Yeah.
So 4 days into the stream, the trolls in the audience call the police and they say that somebody's been stabbed. So the police bust in.
Yeah.
And you can watch this video on YouTube. Just type in Justin Kahn gets swatted, Justin TV gets swatted, something like that.
Yeah.
So he's sitting on the couch. He's using his laptop, just doing work on his computer. And all of a sudden you hear the police like boom, 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 boom. The police are coming in and he just puts his hands up. They're like, is somebody being stabbed in here?
Yeah.
No. We're just, just here. We're just sitting, we're just working.
It's horrible.
And then you have to explain to the police what's going on. It's
Yeah.
oh, I'm broadcasting my life. People know where I live. And somebody just called the police just to mess with me. Because doxing is a thing now, but everybody knew where he lived because they were watching his whole life.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, when you read about the things that people on the internet find out, like, do you remember that thing with Shia LaBeouf where people, what was it? I'm going to get this wrong, but he did something where he hid some flags.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could find the flags, whatever, something happened. And people will use the most minute clues on the internet and all their know-how and figure out where they were based on almost nothing. So you got people who can do that. You streaming your whole life. They're going to, it's no problem for them to do anything. So they call the police. Somebody's been stabbed. They come in. No, it's nothing. The next day, the fire department's called in with a fake, somebody calls in like the building's burning down and 6 fire trucks show up.
Damn.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the person who owned the building did not want them living there. They're like, this sucks.
I'm sure, yeah.
And the classic move, ordering tons of foods, having it sent to the room, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, all the classic like troll tricks and, all that crap that people like to do.
Maybe should have turned his camera off or something when he was, so he can get his apartment number or something.
Yeah, put a bag over his head as he's being driven to his apartment.
Just turn your head
Turn
the
the
other
camera
way,
up.
so they don't see the street name you're living on.
Well, he had to learn all this stuff the hard way. It's funny too, because we're talking about old internet, right? And it's a young company with like some 23-ish-year-old guys running it.
Yep.
Who have, they don't know how to run a company, blah, blah, blah. They're learning all this stuff as they go. But they have thousands of people flocking to their site. So, people would ask him things like, well, what do you do when you go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Good question. He's like, well, when I go to the bathroom, and I saw a video, and he's like, I just turned my camera up. Whoop, it tilts up on his hat, so you can just turn it up. And there's one story where he goes to a bar and he ends up going to a woman's house.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, now what? You can't take the camera in there and do that.
Yeah.
So he just takes the camera off, turns off the sound, and leaves it outside.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But the founders, now this is the old internet part. The founders, because imagine something like this happening today. But the company was young, the guys were young, and it was a different time. So he goes in, he leaves his hat outside on the floor, whatever, outside the room. He goes in there. We all know what he's doing. And the founders play the track from a porn movie.
Yeah.
They just loop.
Oh, that's hilarious.
They layer the sound in over the nothing because nothing's happening on the screen, but this porn background is playing while he's in there.
That is ridiculous.
I could imagine
God.
Early Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg doing something like that, or early YouTube, whatever. I thought that was really funny. That tells you a lot about those guys and that project, that they would do something like that. So after a while, they're doing this, or, whatever, and it's just boring. And people were like, I love the technology. And people kept asking them, well, how can I stream?
Yeah.
How can I stream? How does the technology work? Can I sign up? Can I be a broadcaster? So eventually they started adding broadcasters. And at first, they just would pick people and add broadcasters. The first person they added, her name was Justine. And they're like, oh, it's perfect.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah. She actually still has a YouTube channel today. If you go on YouTube and look her up.
Oh, that's cool.
It's called iJustine.
Yeah.
And she does, from what I could tell, she does phone reviews and stuff like that. I'm not sure, but she's been doing it ever since.
Yeah.
Ever since 2007. Crazy. So they started with her and they added a bunch of broadcasters. They ended up with 60 channels of broadcasters. People just broadcasting whatever. Some people were live casters. Some people just had their own, whatever they decided to do. And then at some point, they opened up the platform, okay, so that anybody could sign up with an account and start broadcasting. Mm-hmm. And that's where it really starts to get fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Just like we did before. Think about this. You have a streaming service. You can do anything you want, basically. So if you open it up and you say to people, all right, stream, what do you think they're going to start doing immediately?
Yeah.
They're going to start playing every copyrighted thing you could possibly imagine.
Hell yeah.
People are taking cameras to sports events.
Yep.
Or recording sports events on their television.
Hell yeah.
They're recording movies. They're recording pay-per-views, boxing matches, UFC fights, all these things. So Justin TV blows up.
Yeah,
now, it already was getting thousands and thousands of people coming to the site anyway. But then people start streaming movies and boxing matches, all the stuff that you don't have to pay for. You can just go watch it on Justin TV. Yeah. And it's like, oh, this is cool. I could just go watch this on the internet.
All the cool stuff you could do on the old internet.
And people start flooding in. Millions of people start using this site. But now, all these companies are like, well, hey,
of course.
What are you doing on your website? You've got these people you've got these pirates everywhere just streaming all this copyrighted material left and right. You got to stop these guys.
Yeah.
So you know how it is, Facebook and whatever. We all are online, and we know how you can't use copyrighted material. They'll stomp you down quick.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Justin TV had to learn.
Leading to the copyright hellhole we live in now, where you can't do anything.
I know. It feels like it's too much now.
Yeah, it's obnoxious.
I mean, the video games, you get a lot of a pass for video game stuff. You can stream video game stuff, and those companies don't care. But that's been nothing but good for
the most part.
video
Some
games.
of them do.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I love Atlas's games, but they have a bad history of that kind of stuff where they don't want you to stream. I think it's Persona 5 maybe, where when it first came out, they didn't want you to stream past a certain part of the beginning of the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Or something like that. I don't remember. You can look it up.
Wow.
And I'm sure Nintendo would block all that shit if they could.
All this illegal material caused legal issues to explode.
Yeah.
The people loved all the content, of course.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
But the companies hated it. So lawsuits were filed, streams were removed. Eventually, they had to clamp down on the illegal content and prepare to be shocked. The user base starts to drop after they start removing all this pirated content.
Yeah.
So now they're like, well, what do we do? Because users are going down. The content that they want is being taken down, and now we don't know what to replace it with. They didn't know what to do. So at this point, they had created a spinoff called Twitch TV. Okay, this is where we get into Twitch. Twitch TV eventually started as it was for video game streamers.
Yeah.
And it was like a spinoff area where all the video game streamers could go to do their content. And it turned out that it was a huge hit from day one. Like, it was growing enormously to start with.
Yeah.
And then Justin TV starts taking a hit because of all these copyright issues. Their user base is going down while Twitch TV's is exploding. And the good thing is they didn't have the same copyright issues with video game streamers. So it was perfect. It was the perfect thing to take the place of all the content that they had to cut out.
Yeah.
They can substitute it with all the video game streaming content, and people are loving it, obviously, because it's growing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
What's funny is that Justin Kahn has talked about that. Like, at first, they just kind of put video games in their own place, and he's like, I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Now, this is coming from the guy who streamed himself sitting at his couch working on a laptop.
Yeah.
Or just drinking with friends at a bar. He's like, I don't understand why people would watch other people play video games. Oh, you don't get it, Justin?
Why wouldn't you watch The Wall while I go get laid?
Yeah. Watching someone cook macaroni and cheese or walk down the street, I get that. Taking a cab.
Yeah.
Taking a dump.
Why wouldn't you want to watch me code on a laptop for 8 hours at a time?
Yeah. But video game streaming, why would you want to watch somebody play a game?
Yeah.
I don't know, like people watch football or people watch baseball or people watch soccer or a concert. Why would they watch people play video games? I don't know. It kind of makes perfect sense to me.
Especially like speed running or competition and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not really any different than any other sport.
He didn't get it personally. So, and he wasn't a video game player, and he didn't really care much about games, and he didn't get it. So he didn't put much thought into the video game part. They just put him in their own space and let them do their own thing. But turns out that was the perfect pivot. So Twitch blows up. Justin TV is falling. Amazon actually ends up buying Twitch TV for $970 million. And Justin TV just closes its doors. They're like, well,
yeah. I mean,
Justin TV has run its course.
Yep.
It's become subsumed by Twitch. So Justin TV essentially becomes Twitch. Justin TV disappears. And hence the rise of the almighty, the all-powerful, the all-streaming Twitch, the place where you can go to watch people speed run, or play Hearthstone, or watch girls with extremely low-cut shirts.
Yep.
My mouse dropped on the floor to bend over and pick it up, or throw their cats behind their head, or whatever, all that kind of stuff. So Twitch. That is the story of how a stupid and boring premise became one of the highest trafficked, most popular websites in the country, which just goes to show you that the important thing is to just get started. You can change it after you go.
True.
You don't have to get it right up front. It's actually a very inspiring story.
Yeah, that's very true.
Number one, all right, let's think about this. What can we learn from the story of Justin TV/Twitch? Number one, you don't have to have a great idea as long as it's new and interesting.
Yeah.
Number two is just get started. You can always change it later.
Yep.
And number three, people love to watch girls stream online.
Well, who doesn't?
Boom. That's right. Who does it?
We did this whole story just to announce we're going to start Twitch streaming.
Yes, we're starting the Twitch channel. It's called Watch Us Drink Coffee.
It's just a static camera on my coffee pot. Every few hours, I just come make a small cup of coffee.
There's a camera that's pointed right at the coffee pot / grinder.
Yeah.
And it just stays there all the time. And every once in a while, someone would go over there, grind some beans.
Yep.
Pour some water, make some coffee. That'd be hilarious.
You can hear me play Fallout in the background.
Well, speaking of Fallout, next week on the show, we're talking all about the classic Interplay game, Fallout, Black Isle Studios.
Which hopefully I'll have beaten by then.
There's nothing quite like it. We love this game.
Yep.
We've been playing back through it over the past 2 weeks. We were actually telling stories just before the show started about the crazy, ridiculous stuff that happens in that game. Every time you play it, something different happens. And so anyway, we're going to talk all about that game and how much freaking fun it is and some of that stuff next week. So come back to the show next Monday and hang out with us. Have a little nostalgia trip with us as we talk about the classic game Fallout. Listen, thanks for hanging with us. I hope you learned something about Justin TV. What's funny is I lived during that time, okay? I was a full-grown adult. All this stuff was happening. I
had just graduated high school in 2007.
Yeah, I never went to Justin TV.
Yeah, I didn't know that until years later.
I never heard of Justin TV. I didn't hear about Twitch until just probably a few years ago. And Twitch has been around since 2014.
Yep.
There's so much stuff going on all around us, dude.
True.
Just crazy stuff. Over there where all the technology guys live, all the startup guys are.
Yeah.
All these people just hustling money so they can come up with some idea. And like some of the coolest stuff comes out of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of money moving around. Yeah.
The closest I get to that world is following, like Naval on Twitter.
Yeah.
Or Paul Graham or people like that.
Have to move to Palo Alto.
Did you hear about just to tag this on the end? Did you hear about Elon thinking about buying Twitter?
Yeah.
Or not thinking about buying it, making a bid for Twitter.
And it's Elon being Elon.
Yeah, it is. There was a great thread. The guy who, I guess the founder of Reddit, his name is Yashan, had a great thread on Twitter talking about that.
Yeah.
He's like, people are asking me about my opinion on this. And he was saying that Elon is obviously got a lot of energy and ideas and a smart guy, and he's doing big things already. Mm-hmm. He would hate to see him get bogged down into the social media world. He would rather him do the cool stuff that he's doing, like rockets and electric cars.
Yeah.
He says, I'm afraid he's going to get distracted from all that cool stuff and get sucked into this world of social media. And he's saying, as someone who ran a social media sort of network, Reddit, what I can tell you is, and he was saying, the problem is not content per se. He said the problem. He said if you listen to people on these in these places a lot, they complain about the right says that we're being censored because we're talking about this, and the left says we're being censored because we're talking about that. And he said it really has nothing to do with your content. It's the fact that people are extremely uncivil to one another. Or certain topics, people get really nasty and they start spamming or like DDoSing or looking up people's houses or calling work, things like that. Yeah. And then the social media company's like, well, we can't just do nothing. He was saying Elon is like an old school free speech guy.
Yeah.
His ideals of free speech are going to run up against bad behavior. And he's going to find out what a freaking cesspool and a nightmare it is to try and do all the things he wants to do while keeping the site running. That's what he was saying. So anyway, I thought that was interesting.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, part of the problem too is just that the way social media networks work, and I don't know the specifics, but they just encourage you to be angry all the time. There's just something about the loop of social media. They just want to drive engagement, and it doesn't matter how, and making you angry is an easy way to do it.
I know. Yeah. I enjoy social media.
Yeah.
I just don't look at the stuff I don't like.
I just use it to look at stuff I like.
Yeah.
Basically.
I just ignore crap I don't like. I don't say stuff that I think is whatever. Yeah. Just Yeah, don't get on there and argue with people about politics or whatever. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. What's the point?
I tapped the sign of that classic tweet the guy said where like Twitter's the only place where you can say a very straightforward sentence and people will take the opposite.
Yeah.
He's like, you can say, I like pancakes, and people say, oh, so you hate waffles?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, no, that's a totally different idea. What the fuck are you talking about?
What the hell's wrong with waffles, huh? You hate waffles?
That's a classic tweet right there. It's evergreen.
You got this idiot coming on saying pancakes are the only thing anybody should eat. Waffles suck. Bacon sucks. Eggs suck. Waffle maxi, pancake maxi, pancake supremacist.
Oh, God.
All right, that's the show. Don't forget, if you like the show, to like, subscribe, leave a comment on YouTube, follow the show, rate the show on Podchaser or Spotify or Anchor or whatever it is you use. We love you for it. We appreciate you for it. Help the show grow. We thank you, and we'll see you next week.